Captain Jack Miller walked through the narrow corridors of the USS Independence. The ship hummed with the steady rhythm of its engines. Jack had been captain for 3 years now, but he still felt proud every time he stepped onto the bridge. The deep space exploration vessel was one of Earth's finest, even if other alien races thought human technology was primitive. "Good morning, Captain," Lieutenant Lisa Johnson said from her communication station. She was young, barely 25, but Jack had never seen anyone better with the comm systems. "Morning, Lisa. Anything interesting on the scanners?" "Just the usual background noise, sir." "Wait." Lisa frowned and adjusted her headset. "I'm picking up something odd from Sector Gamma 7. Jack moved to her station. Sector Gamma 7 was supposed to be empty space. No planets, no stations. Nothing but cosmic dust and radiation. Define odd. "It's a signal, sir. Very faint, but definitely artificial." Lisa's fingers danced over her console. "The pattern doesn't match any known communication protocols in our database." Commander Paul White, Jack's second-in-command, joined them. Paul was older, with gray streaks in his hair and the kind of steady presence that kept everyone calm during crisis. "Could be a malfunction in our equipment." "No, sir." Lisa shook her head. "I've run 3 diagnostics. The signal is real and it's repeating. Someone or something is broadcasting a message." Jack felt the familiar tingle of excitement that came with discovery. This was why he'd joined the Space Force. "Can you decode it?" "Working on it." Lisa's brow furrowed in concentration. "The mathematical structure suggests it's a distress signal. But, Captain, there's more. I'm detecting multiple sources." "Multiple?" Paul leaned closer to the screen. "How many ships are we talking about?" Ensign Mary Thompson spoke up from the sensor station. She was fresh out of the academy, but her talent with sensor arrays had earned her a spot on the Independence. "Sir, long-range sensors show at least 300 vessels. They appear to be drifting without power near a rogue planet." The bridge fell silent. 300 ships was a massive fleet. Jack had never heard of so many vessels traveling together except in the old war stories from before humanity joined the Galactic Council. 300, Paul whispered. "That's not an exploration fleet. That's an evacuation." Jack nodded slowly. Something terrible must have happened for so many ships to be stranded together. He turned to his helm officer. "John, plot a course to the signal source." Lieutenant John Smith, a steady man in his 30s, began entering coordinates. "Course laid in, Captain. At maximum speed, we can be there in 6 hours." "Captain," Paul said quietly, pulling Jack aside. "Regulations say we should report this to Council headquarters first. We don't know what we're walking into." Jack looked at his old friend. They'd served together for over a decade, through good times and bad. "Paul, there are 300 ships out there without power. Every minute we wait could mean lives lost. The Council races have procedures for this sort of thing. We're still the new kids on the block. They might not appreciate us rushing in." "Maybe," Jack agreed, "but those procedures can take days, even weeks. I won't sit here filing reports while people die." Paul studied Jack's face, then smiled. "I knew you'd say that. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page." Jack raised his voice so the entire bridge could hear. "All hands, this is the captain. We've detected a distress signal from a large fleet in Sector Gamma 7. We're going to investigate and provide assistance if needed. I know this isn't standard protocol, but that's what makes us human. We help people, even when it's not convenient." The crew nodded, determination on their faces. This was why they'd signed up too. "Lisa, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them what we've found and what we're doing. Mary, I want continuous scans as we approach. John, best speed to those coordinates." "Aye, Captain," came the chorus of responses. As the Independence changed course and accelerated, Jack stared at the main view screen. The stars streaked into lines as they entered faster than light travel. He wondered what they would find. Billy Galactic Council consisted of dozens of species, some friendly to humanity, others less so. Whoever was out there, they needed help. "Captain," Chief Engineer Bob Johnson's voice came over the comm. "We're pushing the engines pretty hard. They'll hold, but we might need maintenance after this. Understood, Chief. Keep them running smooth. Doctor. Susan Clark entered the bridge, her medical bag in hand. She was in her 40s, a veteran of numerous first contact situations. I heard the announcement. Potential rescue operation? Looks that way, Doc. Better prep the medical bay for anything. Already on it, I've got my team running scenarios. We don't know what species we're dealing with, so we're preparing for multiple physiologies. Jack appreciated Susan's efficiency. In space, being prepared could mean the difference between life and death. Hours passed as the Independence raced through space. The crew worked quietly, each focused on their duties. Finally, John announced, "Dropping out of FTL in 30 seconds. Captain, all stations report ready," Paul called out. "Sensors ready," Mary confirmed. "Communication standing by," Lisa added. "Weapons online but not targeting," reported Security Chief Mike Brown. "Medical team standing by," Susan said. Jack gripped the arms of his captain's chair. "Take us in. John." Nice and easy. The Independence dropped back into normal space. Immediately, the main screen filled with an incredible sight. Massive ships, unlike anything in the human database, drifted in space. They were beautiful, like giant crystals shaped into vessel form, but they were dark. No lights, no engine glow, no signs of power. "My God," someone whispered. Jack stood up slowly. "Mary, full scan. Lisa, try to establish communication. Paul, what are we looking at?" Paul studied his tactical display. "Those ships are huge, Captain. Each one is the size of a small city. The technology, it's beyond anything I've ever seen." "Life signs?" Jack asked. "Scanning," Mary replied. "Yes, sir. I'm reading life signs on all vessels, but they're weak. Whatever happened here, these people are in serious trouble." A small craft detached from the largest alien ship. It moved slowly, using what looked like minimal emergency power. "They're coming to us," Lisa reported. "I'm receiving a signal, basic mathematics. They're trying to establish common ground for communication." Jack straightened his uniform. "Open the hangar bay. Paul, take a security team but keep weapons lowered. We're here to help, not threaten." As the alien shuttle approached, Jack felt the weight of the moment. Humanity was about to make a decision that could define their place in the galaxy. He just hoped it was the right one. The alien shuttle docked in the USS Independence's hangar bay with a soft hiss. Captain Jack Miller stood at the front of the welcoming party, with Commander Paul White and Dr. Susan Clark beside him. 6 security officers formed a loose semicircle. Behind them, their weapons holstered but within easy reach. "Remember," Jack said quietly, "we're here to help. Let's make a good first impression." The shuttle door opened slowly. Everyone held their breath. A tall figure emerged from the shadows and several crew members gasped. The alien stood nearly 9 feet tall. Its body appeared to be made of living crystal that caught the light and broke it into rainbow patterns. Despite its impressive size, the being moved with obvious weakness, its movements slow and careful. "Hello," Jack said, stepping forward. "I am Captain Jack Miller of the Earth vessel Independence. We received your distress call." The alien studied him with eyes that looked like swirling galaxies. It raised a crystalline hand and made a series of musical sounds. Lisa Johnson, who had come down from the bridge with a translation device, worked quickly at her tablet. "It's introducing itself, Captain. The language has a mathematical base. The translator is adapting and got it." She handed Jack an earpiece. The alien spoke again, and this time Jack heard words. "I am Commander Crix of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. Thank you for answering our call when others would not." Jack nodded. "What happened to your fleet, Commander?" The alien's crystal body dimmed slightly. "Disaster. Our home star. Unexpected solar flare. Massive electromagnetic pulse. We were evacuating our world when it happened." Dr. Susan stepped forward. "You appear weakened. May I examine you?" "I'm a doctor." The alien hesitated, then nodded. "Our life force fades. Our ships cannot maintain proper conditions without power." While Susan ran her scanner over the alien, Jack exchanged glances with Paul. This was bigger than they had expected. "How many people are we talking about?" Paul asked. 7 million, Commander Crick said simply. Jack felt his heart skip. 7 million lives. The entire crew of the Independence was just 200 people. 7 million, he repeated. "Commander, I'll be honest. My ship alone can't help that many. But we're not alone." Crick's crystalline form sparkled with what might have been hope. "You have more ships nearby?" "Not yet," Jack admitted, "but we will. Lisa, send emergency signals to all human vessels within 10 parsecs. Priority 1. Lisa nodded and hurried back toward the bridge. "Captain," Paul said in a low voice, "even if every human ship in the sector responds, we're talking about hundreds of ships at most. And we'd be going against Council procedures." Jack looked at the weakened alien. "The Council refused to help?" "We sent distress calls to all Council races," Crick confirmed. "They said our ships were too damaged, the risk too great. They offered to remember our civilization in their histories. But not to save it," Jack finished. "No, not to save it." Susan finished her scan and showed Jack the results. "Their biology is crystal-based. They absorb energy directly from specialized ambient fields on their ships. Without those fields, they're slowly starving." Jack made his decision. "Commander Crix, I'm going to visit your ship. I need to see what we're dealing with." An hour later, Jack floated through the massive alien flagship, accompanied by Crix and a team of engineers led by Chief Bob Johnson. The interior of the Zephyrian ship was breathtaking, vast chambers of crystal that would have glowed with light under normal conditions. Now they were dark, lit only by the emergency lights from the human team. "These ships are incredible," Bob said, scanning the engine room. "The technology is at least a century beyond ours. Yet here we are trying to fix them," Jack replied. Crix watched them work. "The Council races said your species was too primitive to assist us, that humans lack the understanding of our technology." Bob laughed. "They're probably right. I don't understand half of what I'm looking at, but I don't need to understand it all to get it working again." He pointed to what appeared to be the main power distribution node. "Your systems are fried from the EMP, but the physical structure is intact. We might be able to hook up our generators as a temporary solution." "Your generators would be like using a candle to power a city," Crick said. "Then we'll use a lot of candles," Bob replied with a grin. "Captain, if we can get the Independence to dock with this ship, we can run power cables. It won't be pretty, but it might keep life support running." Jack nodded. "Do it, and get me a full assessment of what we need to save these people." Back. On the Independence, Jack called an emergency meeting of his senior staff. The situation was dire, but not hopeless. "We need to prioritize," he told them. "The Zephyrians are dying without their special energy fields. We need to get those running first." "Sir," Lisa interrupted, "we're getting responses to our emergency call. The cargo ship Montana is 3 hours away. The military vessel Defender is diverting from patrol, and dozens more are responding." Jack felt a surge of pride. Humanity might be new to the galactic stage, but they knew how to come together in a crisis. "Paul, coordinate with incoming ships. Lisa, I need you to improve our translation software. We need to communicate better with the Zephyrians. Bob, focus on power transfers." Susan raised her hand. "Captain, I need to establish a medical exchange. Their biology is fascinating, but I need to understand it better if I'm going to help them." "Make it happen," Jack agreed. "Everyone, I know this is beyond our normal mission parameters, but there are 7 million lives at stake." As the meeting ended, a message came through from Earth Command. Admiral Frank Peters appeared on screen, his face serious. "Captain Miller, the Galactic Council has contacted Earth. They're ordering us to stand down. They say the rescue attempt violates their protocols." Jack clenched his jaw. "With all due respect, Admiral, these people will die if we stand down." The Admiral was quiet for a moment. Then a small smile appeared on his face. "That's what I thought you'd say. The official response from Earth is that we are experiencing communication difficulties and cannot receive Council messages at this time." Jack grinned. Communication difficulties could last weeks, sir. Indeed they could, Captain. Unofficially, every human ship that can break free is heading your way. The President has authorized full support for your rescue mission. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. Make this work, Jack. Show the galaxy what humanity can do. As Jack returned to the bridge, he saw the first human reinforcements dropping out of faster-than-light travel. The Montana, a massive cargo vessel, moved into position alongside the Zephyrian flagship. Commander Crick stood beside him, watching the screens. Your people came. Of course they did, Jack said simply. That's what humans do. We help. For the first time, the crystal alien's body glowed with a faint inner light of hope. The rescue had begun. 3 days after Captain Jack Miller's call for help, space around the stranded Zephyrian fleet buzzed with activity. Over 200 human ships had arrived from across known space. Military vessels, cargo haulers, mining ships, even private yachts. They all came to help. Admiral Jane Roberts arrived on the battleship USS Defiant, the largest human military vessel in the sector. She wasted no time taking command of the rescue operation. I want a full status report, she said as she strode onto the Defiant's bridge. A tall woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes, Admiral Roberts had a reputation for getting things done. Jack stood at attention. Admiral, we've established power links with 67 Zephyrian ships so far. It's slow work because their technology is so different from ours. The Admiral nodded. And the Zephyrians themselves? Dr. Susan Clark has set up medical stations on the worst affected ships. We've lost about 2,000 so far, but we're stabilizing the rest. Jane's face hardened at the news of casualties. 2,000 too many. Let's pick up the pace. Communications officer interrupted. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. Put it through, Jane ordered. The screen filled with the image of Ambassador Thex of the Altarian Empire, one of the oldest council races. His blue-skinned face wore an expression of disapproval. Admiral Roberts, I must formally protest this unauthorized rescue operation. The Council has determined that the Zephyrian fleet is beyond saving. Your efforts will only endanger human lives. Jane smiled thinly. Ambassador, thank you for your concern. But we've already stabilized over 60 ships, and we're just getting started. The ambassador's eyes widened. Impossible. Zephyrian technology is far too advanced for human understanding. Maybe we don't need to understand it all to make it work, Jane replied. Now if you'll excuse me, Ambassador, we have lives to save. After ending the transmission, Jane turned to Jack. They really don't think much of us, do they? No, ma'am. But they will. Jane looked at the tactical display showing all the human ships working around the massive alien fleet. Let's prove them wrong. Show me what we've done so far. Jack led the Admiral to a shuttle, and they flew to one of the Zephyrian ships where human engineers were working. Lieutenant Tom Baker met them at the docking bay. Tom was young, just 26, but he had a natural gift for solving problems. Admiral, Captain, Tom greeted them. Welcome to organized chaos. Inside the Zephyrian vessel, humans in work suits swarmed everywhere. Some installed portable generators, others ran thick cables through crystal corridors. Sparks flew as metal welding. Tools met alien materials. It's not pretty, Tom admitted, but it works. We're using mining ship power cores as temporary replacements for their main reactors. Mining ships? Jane asked. Yes, ma'am. Turns out the energy signature is compatible enough. We're running at about 30% of their normal power, but that's enough to keep life support and essential systems online. A group of Zephyrians watched the humans work. Unlike Commander Crick's, these aliens were smaller, civilian types. Their crystal bodies glowed with stronger light than before, showing they were recovering. The Zephyrians are helping where they can, Tom explained. They're teaching us about their systems, and we're teaching them human-style engineering. Human-style engineering? Jane raised an eyebrow. Tom grinned. You know, duct tape, wire, and hope. Jack laughed. Don't forget cursing. That's an essential part of human engineering. As they toured the ship, They saw examples of human ingenuity everywhere. Where elegant alien systems had failed, humans installed crude but effective replacements. In one section, engineers had connected a coffee maker's heating element to an alien power relay as a temporary fix. Their technology is beautiful, Tom said, but fragile. Ours is ugly, but tough. In the ship's control center, they found Commander Crix speaking with a young human woman. Jack introduced her as Amy White, a pilot from a cargo ship. Amy has been teaching our navigators human flight techniques, Crix explained. Your methods are unusual but effective. Amy shrugged. Zephyrian ships normally fly themselves with AI, but sometimes you need a human touch. Back on the Defiant, Admiral Roberts called a meeting with all ship captains. The faces of over 200 humans appeared on screens around the conference room. We've made good progress, she told them, but we still have hundreds of ships to save. The Council is watching and waiting for us to fail. I don't plan to give them that satisfaction. The captains nodded in agreement. Captain Dan Martinez of the mining vessel Rocky Mountain, Jane continued. Your team has developed a way to jumpstart Zephyrian crystal engines. I want that knowledge shared with all ships. Dan, a burly man with a thick beard, nodded. Already preparing instruction packets, Admiral. Captain Lily Chen of the medical ship Nightingale, your team's work understanding Zephyrian biology has saved thousands. Well done. Lily, a serious woman with tired eyes, managed a small smile. Thank you, Admiral. We're learning more every hour. One by one, Jane acknowledged the contributions of each ship. Some had given up lucrative contracts to join the rescue. Others had diverted from important missions. All had come because fellow sentient beings needed help. Outside the conference room, Jack spoke quietly with Commander Crix. Your people are remarkable, Crix said. The Council races said humans were too primitive, too emotional to be trusted with advanced technology. And what do you think? Jack asked. I think emotions drive you to achieve the impossible. Your technology may be simple, but your spirit is not. A junior officer rushed up to them. Captain Admiral, we've got a problem. A group of Zephyrian ships on the far side of the fleet is losing power faster than we can reach them. The life signs are fading rapidly. Jack and Crix hurried back to the conference room, where Admiral Roberts was already discussing the new crisis. We need to get power to those ships now, she said. But they're surrounded by debris from damaged vessels. Our larger ships can't get through. Amy White stepped forward. I can do it. My cargo shuttle is small enough to navigate the debris field. It's too dangerous, Jane objected. One mistake and you'll crash. With respect, Admiral, I'm the best pilot here. I can thread that needle. Jane looked at Jack, who nodded. She really is that good. All right, pilot, but you're not going alone. Take a team of engineers with you. As Amy left to prepare her shuttle, Jack turned to Admiral Roberts. This is going to be close. Yes, she agreed. But if anyone can pull this off, it's us. Not because we're smarter or more advanced, but because we don't know when to quit. Outside, Amy's small shuttle launched from the Defiance Bay, heading toward the endangered ships. The young pilot's voice came over the comm. Shuttle horizon to Fleet Command. Beginning approach to target ships. Don't worry, Admiral, I've got this. As humans across the fleet watched the small shuttle disappear into the debris field, Jack felt a swell of pride. This was humanity at its best, taking risks to save others, refusing to accept failure, and finding ways to make the impossible possible. Amy White gripped the controls of her shuttle with steady hands. Through the view screen, she could see the dangerous field of debris blocking access to the failing Zephyrian ships. Twisted metal and crystal fragments floated in a deadly dance. Horizon, to command, she said into her comm. Beginning approach. Behind her, 5 engineers checked their equipment. Tom Baker, the young lieutenant who had impressed Admiral Roberts, led the team. How bad is it? He asked, looking over Amy's shoulder. Bad enough, she answered with a small smile. But I've flown through worse. Tom wasn't sure if that was true, but he appreciated her confidence. Just get us close enough to dock with the first ship. We'll take care of the rest. Amy nodded and turned her attention to the controls. The shuttle moved forward slowly, carefully weaving between large chunks of debris. A piece of crystal scraped against their hull with a sound like fingernails on a blackboard. "Sorry about that," Amy said, getting a feel for the gaps. On the USS Defiant, Admiral Jane Roberts, Captain Jack Miller, and Commander Crix watched Amy's progress on the main screen. Red dots on the display represented the dying Zephyrian ships with fading life signs. "She's good," Jane said quietly. "The best," Jack agreed. "If anyone can reach those ships in time, it's Amy." The shuttle disappeared from visual range as it entered the heart of the debris field. Now they could only track it on sensors. "Admiral," a communications officer called out, "Ambassador Thex is requesting to observe our rescue operation." Jane raised an eyebrow. "The Council is finally taking an interest? Very well. Allow his ship to approach, but keep him out of the way." In the medical bay of one of the stabilized Zephyrian vessels, Dr. Susan Clark worked side by side with alien healers. The Zephyrians were teaching her about their quantum healing techniques, while she showed them human medical practices. "Your biology is fascinating," Susan told her Zephyrian counterpart, a crystal being named Zin. "You absorb energy directly through your outer layers." "And your organic systems are equally interesting," Zin replied. "So inefficient yet so adaptable." Susan laughed. "That pretty much sums up humanity. Inefficient but adaptable." A human nurse rushed in. "Dr. Clark, we have an emergency. One of the Zephyrians is showing signs of crystal fracture." Susan grabbed her medical kit. "Show me." They hurried to another section of the ship where a young Zephyrian lay on a table. Its crystal body was developing cracks with rainbow-colored energy leaking out. "What's happening?" Susan asked Zin, who had followed. "Crystal degradation. Without proper energy flow for too long, our bodies begin to break down." Zin's voice was sad. "There is no treatment once it begins." Susan studied her scanner. "Maybe not in your medicine, but what if we try something new?" She pulled a small device from her kit. "This is an experimental cellular regenerator. We use it to speed healing in human tissue. The energy signature might be compatible." Zin looked doubtful. "Our bodies are not like yours." "Energy is energy," Susan said, echoing what the engineers had been saying all along. "Let me try." With Zin's reluctant approval, Susan adjusted the regenerator and passed it over the cracked crystal body. At first nothing happened. Then slowly the cracks began to seal. "It's working," Susan exclaimed. "The energy is being absorbed and redirected to reinforce the crystal structure." Zin made a musical sound of amazement. "This is impossible. Our best healers couldn't have done this. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones," Susan replied. "Now help me adapt this to treat others." Meanwhile, Amy's shuttle had reached the first endangered Zephyrian ship. She docked with expert precision, and Tom's team rushed inside with portable generators. "Life signs are critical," Tom reported as they worked. "We need to get power flowing now." The engineers connected their equipment to the ship's systems. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then lights flickered on, and the crystal walls began to glow faintly. "It's working," one of the engineers called out. "But barely. We need more power." Tom looked at their equipment. "We've reached maximum output, unless—" He studied the shuttle's systems on his tablet. "Amy, what if we redirect power from the shuttle itself? Use its reactor as an additional generator?" "We'd be stuck here," Amy pointed out. "No power. No way home. But we'd save the ship, these people." Amy didn't hesitate. "Do it." Tom's team quickly rewired the shuttle's power systems, channeling its energy into the Zephyrian vessel. The glow in the crystal walls strengthened. "Horizon to Defiant," Amy called. "We've stabilized the first ship, but we've used all our power. We're stranded." On the Defiant, Jack and Jane exchanged worried looks. "We'll send another shuttle," Jane began. "No time," Amy interrupted. "The other ships still need help now. There's another way. Have the Zephyrians on this ship direct their energy field into the next ship. Create a chain reaction." "Commander?" Crick stepped forward. "That is not something we have tried before, but it might work. Under Crix's guidance, the reviving Zephyrians focused their ship's energy field outward, extending it to touch the next vessel in line. Slowly, energy began to flow between the ships. "It's working," Amy reported. "The next ship is powering up, and they're extending to the third ship now." One by one, the endangered Zephyrian ships lit up as the energy chain continued. On the Defiant, cheers broke out as the red warning dots on the display changed to green. Ambassador Thex watched from his ship, his expression unreadable. "Fascinating," he said to his aide. "Crude, but effective. Should we offer assistance, now?" the aide asked. "No," Thex replied. "Let us observe further. The humans continue to surprise me." Over the next week, similar scenes played out across the Zephyrian fleet. Human ingenuity paired with alien technology produced solutions no one had thought possible. A mining ship captain used rock-cutting lasers to clear debris fields. A chef from a passenger liner discovered that his cooking equipment could recharge Zephyrian personal devices. Children from a colony ship taught young Zephyrians human games, helping them cope with the trauma of losing their homeworld. Dr. Susan Clark's medical breakthrough spread throughout the fleet, saving thousands of degrading Zephyrians. Her technique was simple by alien standards, but it worked when their advanced methods had failed. On the 15th day of the rescue operation, Admiral Jane Roberts called a meeting with all key personnel. "I have good news," she announced. "Every Zephyrian ship has now been stabilized. We've lost just over 3,000 out of the 7 million, but the rest will survive." A cheer went up from the assembled humans and Zephyrians. "Phase 1 is complete," Jane continued. "Now we need to move to Phase 2, finding these people a new home." Commander Crix stepped forward. "The Council has offered us an uninhabited world in Sector Delta 12. It is acceptable." "Just acceptable?" Jack asked. "It is far from other inhabited systems. I believe the Council wishes to place us where we will not be a burden." Jane frowned. "That sounds like exile, not a new start." "We have no choice," Crix said. "We have lost our homeworld." Captain Jack Miller stood up. "Actually, there might be another option. Earth has been terraforming a planet in Sector Gamma 3, New Eden. It's nearly ready for colonization, and it's close to human space." "Are you suggesting?" Jane began. "I'm suggesting we share it," Jack said. "Humans and Zephyrians. Building a world together. After all we've been through, it seems right." The room fell silent as everyone considered this unprecedented idea. Humans had never shared a colony world with another species before. Commander Crix's crystal body glowed brightly. "You would do this for us?" "We would do this with you," Jack corrected. "As friends? As allies?" Jane nodded slowly. "I'll need to consult with Earth government, but I support this proposal. We've learned that we're stronger together." As the meeting ended, Ambassador Thex approached Admiral Roberts. "A bold proposal, Admiral. The Council will have much to discuss." "Good," Jane replied with a smile. "It's about time they started talking about cooperation instead of protocols." The ambassador studied her face. "Perhaps we have underestimated humanity after all." "Perhaps," Jane agreed. "Or perhaps you simply focus too much on what we lack and not enough on what we offer." As the ambassador departed, Jack joined Jane at the viewport. Together they looked out at the fleet, human and Zephyrian ships working as one. "Do you think it will work?" Jack asked. "The shared colony?" "I don't know," Jane admitted. "But I know we'll try our hardest to make it work. That's what humans do." 6 months after the rescue, the Galactic Council gathered for a special session. The Grand Chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of alien species. At the center stood Commander Crix, now the official leader of the Zephyrian people. "Humans showed us what we had forgotten," Crix said, his crystal body glowing brightly. "In our rush to advance our technology, we lost the simple truth that courage and kindness matter more than machines." The council members listened in silence. Many had opposed the human rescue effort. Some had even called it foolish. Now they could not deny its success. "We request that humanity be granted full membership in the Galactic Council," Crix continued, "not as junior partners, but as equals." Murmurs filled the chamber. Ambassador Thex of the Altarian Empire stood. "6 months ago I would have opposed this request," he admitted. "I believed humans were too young, too primitive to join our ranks as equals." He paused, looking at the human delegation where Admiral Jane Roberts and Captain Jack Miller sat. "I was wrong," he said simply. "Humanity proved its worth not through technological might, but through determination and compassion." I second the Zephyrian request. One by one, other council members rose to support the motion. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would join the council as full members. After the ceremony, Jack found Amy White in the observation lounge. The young pilot had become a hero among both humans and Zephyrians. "Quite a view," Jack said, looking at the stars beyond the window. Amy nodded. "Hard to believe we're here. 6 months ago we were just trying to save lives, now we're changing the galaxy." "That's how it starts," Jack smiled. "With one good deed." On the newly renamed planet Unity, human and Zephyrian cities rose side by side. What had begun as a temporary solution had become something remarkable, the first truly shared world in Council history. Dr. Susan Clark now led the Joint Medical Academy, where human doctors and Zephyrian healers exchanged knowledge. Her discovery during the rescue had blossomed into an entirely new field of cross-species medicine. "The students are making amazing progress," she told Bob Johnson, who was visiting from his engineering school. "Same with our engineers," Bob replied. "Humans are learning about crystal technology, and Zephyrians are learning human-style problem-solving. Best of both worlds." On Earth, children learned about the rescue in schools. It became known as the Unity Miracle, the moment when humanity proved it belonged among the stars. Admiral Jane Roberts stood before a new class of space cadets at the Academy. "They said we were too young, too primitive," she told them. "Maybe we are. But we're also stubborn, creative, and we don't know when something's impossible." One cadet raised her hand. "Admiral, what was the most important lesson from the rescue?" Jane thought for a moment. "That our differences can be our greatest strength. The Zephyrians had advanced technology but rigid thinking. We had simple technology, but flexible minds. Together we achieved what neither could do alone." The final piece of the Unity Memorial was placed in orbit around the shared planet. It was a simple structure, a human hand and a Zephyrian crystal reaching toward each other across space. Inside was a record of all who had been lost, both in the destruction of the Zephyrian homeworld and during the rescue. Commander Crix and Captain Jack Miller watched as the memorial was dedicated. "My people will never forget what humanity did for us," Crix said. "And my people will never forget what we learned from yours," Jack replied. "That the galaxy is big enough for all of us if we work together." As ships from both worlds circled the memorial in a ceremonial flyby, Jack thought about how far they had come. From a simple distress call to a new chapter in galactic history. From strangers to friends. The galaxy would never be the same again. And that was a good thing. In the council chambers, a new human ambassador took her place, Amy White, the pilot who had risked everything to save strangers. "Welcome, Ambassador," said Thex. Amy smiled. "Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish together. After all, we're just getting started." And across the stars, human and Zephyrian ships now flew side by side, a symbol of what was possible when determination met compassion, when the young taught the old, and when differences became strength rather than weakness. It was just the beginning.